In today's episode, we take a deep dive into origins and impact of today's toughest prison facilities. Did you know the world's oldest prison still in operation is the Tower of London, which opened in the year 1100? Quite a head start, isn't it? This curious fortress with its ancient stones and shadowy corridors has seen more than 9 centuries of convicts, traitors and unlucky souls pass through its doors. But why? What compels us as a society to our fellow humans within such grim walls? And who decided this was the best way to deal with transgressions against our collective rules? In this we'll explore these questions and more, delving into the roots of incarceration, the evolution of prisons over time, the current state of these institutions worldwide, from the dank dungeons of medieval Europe to the high-tech supermax facilities of today. We'll trace the complex history of this controversial aspect of societal order, so buckle up, stay tuned, as we embark on a journey through the fascinating history of prisons. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more fascinating insights into the world of prisons. And hey, why not share it with your friends? They might find it interesting too. The concept of prisons wasn't always around, so where did it all begin? The genesis of prisons as we know them today can be traced back to the Middle Ages. However, the idea of a place to confine people as a form of punishment stretches back even further. In the ancient world, prisons were often used for detention before trial or execution. The idea of incarceration as a form of punishment in itself was a concept yet to be conceived. It wasn't until medieval times that we began to see the birth of the first prison as we understand it today. One of the earliest and most infamous of these is the Tower of London. This iconic structure was built in the late 11th century, soon after William the Conqueror claimed the English throne. Initially intended as a royal residence, the tower quickly gained a reputation as a place of dread and despair. Over its 1,000-year history, the Tower of London has played host to a variety of uses, but its role as a prison is perhaps the most well-known. From commoners to kings, many found themselves within the tower's cold, unyielding walls. It was here that the notion of a prison as a place of punishment began to take shape. The Tower of London was unique for its time. Unlike the dungeons of old, it was not merely a holding place for those awaiting their fate. Instead, it became a place where offenders could be sent to reflect on their crimes and, ideally, repent. This shift in purpose from detention to punishment marked a significant turning point in the evolution of the prison system. As a prison, the Tower of London was a symbol of authority and power. Its imposing presence was a constant reminder of the consequences of challenging the crown. This psychological aspect of imprisonment, the idea of a prison as a deterrent, is a concept that remains central to the prison system even today. The creation of the first prison marked a major shift in how societies dealt with crime and punishment. This change was not without its critics, and the debate over the effectiveness of prisons continues to this day, but there's no denying that the birth of the first prison marked a pivotal moment in the history of criminal justice. Scene script. Prisons were created with a specific aim in mind, but what exactly is that aim? Let's delve into the main purposes of prisons: deterrence, punishment, rehabilitation, and societal protection. These 4 pillars form the foundation of the prison system, guiding its development and defining its existence. First, deterrence. Prisons are designed to discourage or deter individuals from committing crimes. The idea is simple: the harsher the punishment, the less likely people are to break the law. By creating a stark image of life behind bars, society hopes to instill fear in potential lawbreakers and thus reduce crime rates. Next, we have punishment. Prisons serve as a tool for society to impose consequences for criminal actions. If you break the law, you pay the price. This principle of retribution is deeply ingrained in our justice system, reflecting the age-old belief in an eye for an eye. Then comes rehabilitation. Now, this is where things start to get a bit more progressive. The concept of rehabilitation suggests that prisons should not merely punish, but also help inmates reform. By providing education, vocational training and therapy, prisons can equip inmates with the skills and mindset needed to reintegrate into society upon release. And finally, societal protection. Prisons keep dangerous individuals away from the public, thereby ensuring the safety and security of society. By locking up criminals, we reduce the risk of them causing further harm. However, the effectiveness of these purposes is a matter of ongoing debate. Critics argue that prisons often fail in their mission of deterrence and rehabilitation, and may even exacerbate criminal behavior. Others contend that certain types of punishment are overly harsh, infringing on basic human rights. Moreover, the balance between these four purposes is a contentious issue. Should prisons focus more on punishment or rehabilitation? What is the right balance between societal protection and individual rights? These are questions that societies around the world grapple with as they seek to refine and redefine their prison systems. The purpose of prisons continues to be a topic of hot debate even today. Prisons serve a crucial function in society, but they're not without their controversies. Let's delve into the duality of prisons, the pros and cons, the good and the bad, the black and white. Prisons, in their core function, serve to protect society. They remove dangerous individuals from the public, providing a form of security. They also serve as a deterrent, the threat of imprisonment discouraging potential wrongdoers. Additionally, prisons offer a chance for rehabilitation, with programs aimed at helping inmates reintegrate into society post-release. However, the reality of prisons is often far from this ideal. Overcrowding is a significant issue. With many prisons housing more inmates than they were designed for, conditions can be inhumane and even life-threatening. Overcrowding can lead to increased violence, spread of disease, and mental health issues among inmates. Another concern is recidivism, the tendency of a convicted criminal to reoffend. While prisons should ideally help offenders reform, the harsh reality often sees released inmates reoffending and returning to prison. This cycle of crime points to a failing in the system's rehabilitative function. The cost to taxpayers is another contentious point. Maintaining prisons and their populations is a costly affair. In the United States, for instance, it's estimated that the annual cost of incarceration per inmate is more than the cost of a year at an Ivy League university. This raises questions about the effectiveness of the penal system and whether these funds could be better allocated. The balance between the pros and cons of prisons is a delicate one and varies from place to place. It's clear that while prisons serve an essential function, there are significant issues that need addressing. The conversation around prison reform is a complex and ongoing one with no easy solutions. But as we grapple with these questions, let's not forget the fundamental purpose of prisons: to protect society, deter crime, and rehabilitate offenders. The balance between the pros and cons of prisons is a delicate one and varies from place to place. The United States, known as the land of the free, ironically has the highest incarceration rate in the world. With over 2 million people behind bars, the country's prison system is a colossal entity, a vast network of institutions that sprawl across the 50 states. To understand the scale of this system, consider this. There are more than 1,700 state prisons, over 100 federal prisons, and countless local jails, juvenile correctional facilities, and detention centers. This doesn't even account for the private prisons, a controversial sector that has grown enormously over the past few decades. The US incarceration rate stands head and shoulders above the rest of the world. With around 700 prisoners for every 100,000 citizens, the United States holds a quarter of the world's prisoners, despite only making up about 4% of the global population. This is a staggering statistic, and one that prompts serious reflection. Many factors contribute to this high rate of incarceration. The country's tough-on-crime policies, the war on drugs, and mandatory minimum sentencing laws have all played a role. The system, critics argue, is more punitive than rehabilitative, focusing on punishment rather than reform. But prisons are not only places of punishment, they are also places of work. The prison industrial complex, a term coined in the late 20th century, refers to the overlapping interests of government and industry that use surveillance, policing, and imprisonment as solutions to economic, social, and political problems. The number of prisons in the United States and the high rate of incarceration are not just numbers. They reflect deep-seated issues in the American society, issues that revolve around race, class, and inequality. The prison system is a mirror, reflecting the country's struggles with social justice, fairness, and the very definition of freedom itself. The number of prisons in the US is a stark reminder of the country's complex relationship with crime and punishment. Not all prisons are created equal, some are notoriously tougher than others. In the United States, a few names stand out in this regard. Consider ADX Florence in Colorado, also known as the Alcatraz of the Rockies. This supermax facility holds some of the nation's most dangerous criminals, often in solitary confinement. Prisoners are kept in cells with thick concrete walls and a tiny slit for a window. Human interaction is minimal, making it a harsh environment even by prison standards. Then there's San Quentin State Prison in California, another institution with a fearsome reputation. It houses the largest death row population in the country, and its history is steeped in notoriety and violence. Stories of riots, escapes, and famous inmates like Charles Manson have cemented its place in the public consciousness. These prisons are a testament to the extreme ends of the penal system. That's it for our journey through the world of prisons. It's a complex system, often shrouded in controversy and debate, but it's an integral part of society, serving as a deterrent for crime, a place of punishment, and in some cases, a platform for rehabilitation. We've only scratched the surface of this intricate and vast topic. If you found this video insightful and informative, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Your support means a lot, and it helps us bring more content like this to you. We'd also love to hear your thoughts on this topic. Are you surprised by what you've learned? Do you have a different perspective on prisons now? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And if you haven't done so already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We've got plenty more fascinating insights into various topics, from the mysteries of the universe to the complexities of human behavior. Thanks for taking the time to dive deep into this topic with us. We appreciate your curiosity and your engagement. Until our next journey, thanks for watching.